My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director for Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. And today is January 20th, 2023. And we're here at Riviera Beach Preparatory Achievement Academy. And Miss, what is your name?
My name is Terrion Nelson.
Okay. And Terrion, I don't mind saying it's been wonderful listening to your music for the last couple of decades that I've lived here. By the way, are you a native Floridian?
I am.
Where were you born?
Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay, all right. And just curious, that's about 160 miles north. What brought you down to Palm Beach County?
Well, actually, my father's from here. So when my parents got married, we moved here.
Okay, all right. And how long ago was that?
You want me to tell my age? But, you know, basically in elementary school, we kind of lived in both places because my father was a musician and was sometimes on the road traveling with George and Gwen McCrae or Sam and Dave. And so during those times, we would spend in Daytona with my Nana. And, you know, and then probably around 5th, 6th grade, we kind of settled here for good when my dad came off the road and went to schools right here in Palm Beach County.
Okay, so I guess you graduated from what high school here?
Actually, I did not graduate high school because by this time my parents were divorced, and in my 11th grade year I moved back to Daytona Beach. But I did attend Palm Beach Public Elementary School, Palm Springs Elementary School, Coniston Junior High School, and Palm Beach Gardens High School until my 11th grade year, and moved back to Daytona and graduated from Spruce Creek High School.
What was the name of it?
Spruce Creek High School.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, just two things I'm tracking at the moment. Which parent was a musician? Your dad?
My dad. But my mom did some singing as well. They had a group when I was growing up.
Okay. Instruments?
My dad is a brass player. He played trumpet and baritone.
Okay. So, you grew up with music in the house?
Everywhere.
From the very beginning, I get it.
Yes.
And so, where'd you go to college?
I went to Florida A&M University. I graduated from there. I actually went to Jacksonville University for a year and a half, and then I transferred to Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, where I actually graduated there.
So, I'm curious, going from music to teaching, you're a professional educator. What was the bridge?
I teach music. That's the bridge.
So how long you been teaching before you went to
you
college?
You still want me to tell my age? I mean, I've been singing, you know, basically all of my life, as most singers. I grew up singing in the church, but really did not understand or receive the gift until I reached Coniston Junior High. I played the clarinet because my dad was a band teacher, so we started, you know, off on an instrument. And then in 8th grade at Coniston, I sang at a dinner theater there at the school, and from that time on I've been singing, writing music, and education became a way of being able to take care of myself as I was working on my music career.
Okay, so I guess the job with the school district enabled you to pursue your music more intently.
Most definitely.
You were able to concentrate on it in that environment.
In that environment, also, it was also a way to give back what I've been given. You know, my dad used to tell me, to whom much is given, much is required. And it took a while to really understand that concept. But because of my love for music, my love for performing, the only thing that I liked better or take the place of that was to be able to give that back to young people that I've been able to teach all these years that I've been a teacher.
And what grades have you taught over the length of your career? What grades?
Preschool.
Wow.
To college level.
You haven't missed one, huh?
Yeah. No, I really haven't. I mean, I was an elementary teacher for a long time, 29 years. And I've been in high school for the last 5 years, so that kind of gives you a clue.
Okay, all right. Oh, you're teaching high school now?
I'm teaching high school right now at Palm Beach Lakes High School.
Okay, all right, because, all right, last time I saw you, you were in elementary.
Yes, Eagle Lake Elementary.
Okay, all right. So, again, making the connection. So you've taught pretty much all grade levels.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so college. You said you taught some college.
Well, I prepare kids for, auditions for college.
Right.
And the summer camp that I work with
Mm-hmm.
for over 30 years, 31 years, we would often have our graduates to come back, to work with the camp. And we've even done like a reunion of those people that come through those programs. So they were college level at that time. This is my 34th year of
30.
teaching.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And actually, before I actually took a job here, I was teaching preschool in Tallahassee, so let's make that 35.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
Mhm.
We have the undeniable economic situation that the
Experience.
black community has been under
Mhm.
for God only knows how many decades as well as centuries.
Right.
This is the Deep South.
Mhm.
So what is your worldview of that? What is your outlook after your experiences, and where do you feel like this community locally and also the community in the world is at today, the community of color?
Well, especially now teaching in high school, our children suffer from a lack of knowledge of really who they are. And one of the things that I love about teaching at this level, that I'm able to impart knowledge and life lessons to them that I know that will help to carry them to the next level. And I'm very frank, I'm very real with them, but they don't really know who they are. They don't understand where they come from, who they come from, what we have as a people have contributed to this country and this world at large. And I think because they're not taught that, they don't have that knowledge, they seem to operate at a level of the statistics. I think that we, and I'm saying we, as parents, sometimes are not challenging them outside of the classroom, giving them tools that they need, because it's all a lot of times expected for teachers to do and be everything. And we try our best. We find ourselves, even, coming from the elementary level, we find ourselves being that parent or that guardian, that nurse, that psychologist, just trying to do our best to meet the kids where they are, to give them all that we can within the 7-hour day that we have them. And it's even been said with parents, well, they're yours for these 7 hours. So what they do, in that mindset, and it becomes a perpetual cycle of lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of who you are, what you carry. And when we all say knowledge is power, we don't understand that that really is the truth of when we know, it gives us the power to rise above the statistics. It gives us the power to rise above the expectations instead of adhering to the lower level. I tell my kids, average is not going to make it. Just enough to get by is not going to be enough for you to get by. And so you need to take it upon yourself. And these are things that I can say to a high school student, that you need to take upon yourself. Get all of this knowledge that teachers are trying to impart to you, but also know that you have to do your part as well to go beyond that, to be the best person that you can be. Well, we know that society has labeled certain races of people, or just us as a people, and not just us, people of color, and whether that be Spanish, Latino, whatever, we're kind of grouped in a setting. And of course, African Americans probably experience this the most. Is that there's only certain things that we can do. There's only certain things that we can achieve. There's only certain things that we're going to be able to come. And we have caught onto that notion that if you're not a rapper, if you're not a basketball player, if you don't play football, that you're really not going to make it in this world. And that's what a lot of kids are looking to. And and being a music teacher, we talk about the hip hop culture, and that's actually what we're studying right now, and how that has lasted for 50 years of, and I was a little girl. I was in elementary school when that style of music came out. And so we look at these rappers, we look at the jury, we look at the cars, we look at all of these things, and we think that all we got to do is get a good rap, CD or a good rap record, and then we can have all those things. And a lot of those things that they see are not real. They're false. We talk about how these rappers, they rent the jury, they rent the cars, they rent the houses, even though they have money, because even they don't have an understanding of what it is to be financially secure, and know where your money is going. So it's just a lot of things that go into that. But we are affected. Our black kids are affected the most, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse because they're not doing their part, number one. I also find that there's less parent involvement at the high school level, which to me, it needs to be even more.
Right.
And so kids are just doing and being whatever.
Are you witnessing from the students or the parents and your peers, administrators, fellow teachers, new or increased amounts of trauma?
Well, I think there is a lot of trauma. The sad thing is very few children are talking about it. And I can't say specifically that it's related to the gangs and the drive-by shootings. I know for sure, and that I think we've all experienced, that the pandemic has caused a lot of issues for kids. Identity and who you are, things that are out there, is causing a lot of kids a lot of issues because they're following. I mean, if you think about it, they keep adding to this. I don't even know what all of them are.
Right.
And there are kids that are still hiding from their parents who they want to be or who they portray in school.
Right.
Because they really don't know. They're just following the crowd. And we know, gay and that's been around forever and a day.
Right.
And there was a time where we've all had friends, we've all had families that we knew, but it wasn't pushed in your face.
Right.
We just accepted them for who they are because they weren't trying to push it on you. They just lived their life. They just lived their life, whoever they were. And I just think now it is so prevalent in, starting now in elementary school. Mm-hmm. And they don't really even have an understanding of what those things mean. It's just a matter of following the crowd. And so then the kids are caught between two worlds, mm-hmm. which is causing a lot of emotional and mental stress on them. And only, when somebody's actually reached out and said something to me, or has come to me, normally not about that, but family issues, or, if they're crying, I'm going to stop and take the time to say, okay, let's go in my office. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Is there something I can do to help you? You try to be there as much as possible. But the sad thing about it, a lot of kids are holding that stuff in. Mm-hmm. And that's why we see, the suicidal rate getting higher, because they can't deal with it. They don't have the mental capacity. They don't have the emotional capacity. And they don't feel that there's anyone that they can talk to and share these feelings and emotions with. Well, I think, just from some people that I know, there are some resources available mm-hmm. to families. Even at my school, there are behavioral psychologists there that are, always available. There are, people that come and take kids out, talk to them, and I don't know what their issues are. So I think there are resources available. The problem with us as a people, we shun therapy. We shun it. I mean, you said it. We shun having someone to talk to and, unbiased. And it's okay,
right.
Because at the end of the day, I don't care how good we are. Religious beliefs, because I'm a woman of the word.
Right.
I believe God, but I believe God put physicians and people, on this earth. He said, am I my brother's keeper? And so I think he's provided those resources for us, but just we as a people don't take advantage of it because we feel like we're weak, or we feel like, or we deny that we even need the help.
Okay. That's a good word, denial. That's a
Yes.
great word, really, seriously.
So I just think there are resources development, and I would just make it more. This may sound a little, I don't want to say, but especially people who are receiving assistance from the government and, from our taxes. And when they're going through those programs, that there should be, especially if it's been found that there's trauma, if it's been found that, kids are coming up in very difficult situations, that it should be mandatory.
Okay.
Because if we don't fix it, it becomes a perpetual cycle. And so if you are, and I'm not just saying that those are the people that need the help, because, money, you can have everything in the world and still need help. But it's more accessible to you. You have the finances to pay for it. Whereas, disadvantaged families don't have that same. But I think it should be a must, especially when we know that there are people dealing with trauma, that it should be mandatory. It should be a part of their rehabilitation. It should be a part of getting them back to be independent and not dependent. Their whole life you're dependent on the system, which means your children become dependent because we've taught them to be dependent, right, because it's easy. Mm-hmm. Instead of there being a system that you have to do this, you have to do that in order for you to receive this assistance to make you a better person, so that we can break those cycles. We have to want to be better to be able to do better. So if I get that choice, if God, my creator, gave me that choice, who is anybody to take that choice away from me? Mm-hmm. So this is my body. This is my body, because I got to answer for what I do with it. I know that it's my temple. I know that I have to present it back to God because he gave it to me, because those are my beliefs. But if our creator gave us the freedom to choose, mm-hmm, who is anybody to take that freedom away when it concerns me, my body? And we don't even have a mental health facility here in Palm Beach County anymore. And that's a sad commentary. That really is a sad commentary. And, I don't know why. It's just like the jails. What are we doing to rehabilitate those young people? Okay. What are we doing to give them the opportunity? I know they have schooling in there, and I know some cases are very, very difficult. But there's something that needs to happen to give them the tools, especially, if they're in, juvenile, when we catch them when they're young, so they do not become repeat offenders, that we're giving them tools, we're giving them education, we're giving them skills that they can use when they get out, and then provide programming that will be able to get them back out into society and don't feel like the system is still against them because they can't get a job, they can't, they don't have any resources on how to survive outside of that. And we're just kicking them right back out to the streets, but there's nothing being done to challenge them, to encourage them, to pour into them, to feel like they don't have to go back to drug dealing, they don't have to go back to stealing because they don't have anything. And that becomes their, it needs to be a channel of outside of jail, going through a program that will give them skills that will, whether it's plumbing or something that they can look forward to, and coming out of that program and then providing them jobs so that they don't have to return to the crime. And that's with men as well. As far as the mental health thing, again, these are things that have been going on for years. I know, most people back in the day were just put into an insane asylum and literally thrown away the key. And I'm not a physical doctor, I'm not a I don't know how you fix that,
Right.
other than with prayer and again, giving them tools to feel some type of importance in their lives as much as you possibly can, because there are just some things that are beyond, to me, human resolve, which technology is a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Right.
And I feel as an educator that children are given too much too soon,
Mm-hmm.
which opens them up to too much too soon.
Right.
And again, not being developmentally equipped to handle the information that's coming at them. And that still, to me, goes back to parenting. That goes back to parenting. It goes back to, knowing what your kids are doing with those phones, what they're watching on those phones, who they're communicating with on their phones, what they are allowed to do, how many of those social media things they're able to be on. And I just think it's just too much too soon. And that's where the confusion is getting worse.
Okay.
And where because they cannot comprehend what they're
Process.
They can't process.
Right.
And it's adding to the issue.
Right.
It's adding to the issue. I know that I was chosen to go to high school
Mm-hmm.
to impart what what has been given to me to young people. And I tell my kids all the time, as much as I love music, it's what I do, is who I am, I will stop that to give you something that will carry you through your life, and that's a life lesson. And even in teaching them about music, especially now that we're studying, the history and the music of our people,
Right.
I can't teach them about music without teaching them about why the music came to be. And even, today the question was for my kids, what have you learned about hip hop that you didn't know? Because they just hear it as a type of music that they like. They had no idea where it came from. They had no idea why it came to be.
Mm-hmm.
They had no idea who invented it and why. And even, some of the artists, the things that they were able to invent that had not been before. So it's much deeper than the music that you're listening to today. It evolved to what it is today. But there's such a rich history in that alone. And that's not the only music that we as a people have created. So in that, I get to give them what has happened in our history, who you really are, what you have contributed. And see, when you have that understanding, when you have that knowledge, you can stand a little stronger. You can hold your head up a little higher. And it should push you or encourage you to want to do better and be better.